and welcome to The American Rancher. I'm Pam Minnick. Jim and Jamie Jensen at Lucky 7 Angus developed feed-efficient beef cattle that thrive in high elevations. Their work, research, and data have resulted in up to 30% increases in documented feed efficiency. Lucky 7 genetics are well known for their durability in the Rockies, but when asked whether those same cattle will work in lower elevations of the Midwest and southern U.S., Jim was quick to admit that he wasn't sure. On today's show, we'll talk with producers in Kansas and Oklahoma who answer that question.
We're at Boulder, Wyoming, about 7,200 feet. This is called the nation's ice box because of the coldest daily temperature in the United States. And you add that along with big pastures that we have some pastures don't even have a fence line that probably into the several 100,000, if not millions of acres. Right now, we're in some grassy areas, but if you can see, we have a lot of very arid ground where the cattle have to graze pretty fast in order to get something to eat. So just a real tough place to make a living here. It's really tough on the animals and the ranchers.
The conditions we deal with here in Sublette County are incredibly difficult. And what's even more difficult is to find genetics that can actually thrive here. So about 20 years ago, we got into the registered Angus business in order to try and fix that.
I go back to my roots of the friends and family and neighbors and all the fellow ranchers around here. I always wanted to make them the most money possible. So the bulls that wouldn't work here, we wanted to make bulls that could work here. So we had to run those bulls in tougher conditions than any commercial cowman would. And that was part of the program that we started here. It worked extremely well. People were they were having a good luck with the bulls, and the bulls were holding up, cattle were holding up better. From there, being above 7,000 feet, we decided that we would go into the pap testing, which would make sense for my high elevation customers and all the friends and neighbors around me. And we got into that, set a lot of benchmarks. We set the first ever standards in the industry for pap testing. And we then went on to become the leader in the industry in high elevation and pap testing. We've noticed as we were chasing the brisket disease and trying to eliminate it that we had a lot less sickness and death loss in our animals. And we also have noticed that there's a lot less of the animals in lower elevation feedlots that are dying due to right heart failure because of the work we've done.
From there, we decided to start concentrating on feed efficiency.
The only way you can prove out feed efficiency is to have scientific data that will absolutely prove how many pounds of a nutrient that these animals eat versus how many pounds they gain or what it takes to maintain. We have proof of that. We purchased a Grow Safe feed efficient system, and we started doing a lot of feed efficiency work with vertical mixers and all sorts of other things trying to create a feed efficient animal. And we did that because if you look at like Kansas State University did a study and they figure at least 70% of your cost of doing business is feed associated costs, either the feed that you're feeding or the equipment and stuff that it takes to feed. It's the low hanging fruit and it would make the most money for any rancher in the industry, number one. Number two, nobody was doing it. We know for a fact that we're running 35 to 40% more cows per acre than we used to. Yes, we have created some better management, offset part of that, but they're easily 25 to 30% more efficient. And we thought at that point in time when we reached that goal, we wouldn't be able to take major steps after that. But I can tell you in this pasture right here, we have a bunch of first calf heifers that we stick in some lush conditions and just before we wean them in order to wean the calves off right. These cows usually run 25 to 28 days in these pastures, and we've been doing this for 10 to 12 years. And this year, right now, we're at 25 to 28 days, and we still have 10 days of pasture. So we're pretty conservative in thinking that we're another 10 to 15% more feed efficient just in the last 3 years on these young genetics. One thing that happened when we started the feed efficiency thing is we started having customers come to us and say that they had 75 to 100 pounds heavier calves than they used to have. And that's hard to believe when you're not producing an animal that's a big overgrown performance type animal. We produce mother cows. And so that was one thing that happened. Kind of makes sense that if the cows are more efficient and they don't change their grazing practices, the calf's going to get bigger, and that's all we can attest to it. We set goals to make the most profitable customers possible.
And feed efficiency was one of those things that we had to address, and now we are the leader. High elevation pap where we live is something we had to address and we had to do well. Now we're the world's premier high elevation program. We knew a 4-year guarantee and durable cattle were something the industry had to have. And now we lead the industry in durability. The environmentally friendly beef deal, that just happened. When you have something that's a fact because you create animals that make more money for the customers, and all of a sudden now it can become the greatest story ever told in the beef industry, we're gonna run with it, yeah. But that wasn't our goal. It just happens when you try and do the best you can, and it's very humbling.
Not very many people has ever seen animals that can go to the rail at 1,400 pounds at 13 months, and we weren't even trying to get it. Feed efficiency just give us that advantage. We have 2 producers that went all in with our genetics, and these 2 producers in the last 2 years have had animals that weighed 1,400 pounds and were marketed at 13 months, 100% choice and better. This is a huge economic advantage because instead of hitting the June, July, August market, now you're hitting the April, May market, which is about a $220 advantage.
Up next.
We harvested those steer calves, average 13 months of age, 1,400 pounds, again 100% choice and better.
Lucky 7 genetics come down from the mountains. See how they do after the break here on The American Rancher. Welcome back to The American Rancher. Years ago, Lucky 7 Angus in Wyoming developed production cattle with exceptional, scientifically proven feed efficiency. Today, that efficiency creates unexpected benefits.
We feed a lot of our cattle at Tiffany Cattle Company in Harrington, Kansas. Deal mostly with Shane Tiffany. Done a great job for us, and we've had some excellent results. When we first got into the feed efficiency part with them, they kind of had a little bit of doubts that maybe it wasn't true.
Being in the custom feedlot business like we are, of course, you know, I get calls on a daily basis that from someone that's pretty proud of their genetics and all the work they've done over the years, and they make some pretty bold claims about, I've got the best this or I've got the best that. And so when Jim and I first talked, and he talked about that his primary focus had been on feed efficiency in his genetic decisions in the past, I was curious to see if he could back that up with real-time data. And what we have seen is exactly that. I mean, to put it in context, I just want to be clear that we do get to feed some of the best cattle in the country. The thing that's been interesting to see over the years, and as more and more data has come in, is that not only are his claims of feed efficiency extremely accurate, but their carcass quality would rank right up there with the top 5% of what we get to feed in a given year too.
Had a set of yearling heifers that went to the feedlot, gained 4.8 pounds, 131 days on feed, and graded 100% choice and better. Last year, I fed out our calf-fed steers. We did it at our place at home. We harvested those steer calves, average 13 months of age, 1,400 pounds, again 100% choice and better.
Well, this is our ranch here in Red Oak, Oklahoma. We bought these ranches about 10 years ago. Our goal was to take some of our high-end genetics and put them into an embryo program to where basically it would be the factory to create all of our high-end genetics up in the north, high elevations, and then bring them down here just to propagate them. We thought it would be the cheapest place to raise a cow. So you want to talk about a huge contrast. You go from Boulder, Wyoming, which is above 7,000 feet, one of the coldest places on earth, with very little rainfall, and you take these cattle down to Red Oak, Oklahoma, where it's a high temperature, low elevation, and 48 inches of rainfall with lots of bugs and stuff that we don't see up there. We knew feed efficiency could work anywhere, but we did not know if the same cattle could work at both places, and we were tickled pink to know that they actually can survive and thrive down here. We've had a lot of people ask, how will these high elevation feed efficient animals work in my neck of the woods? You know, people from Oklahoma, Florida, Texas, wherever. And we really didn't know, so we'd always have to tell them we don't know till we test them. We now know these cattle do extremely well in those areas. You know, it takes a little bit to acclimate them, of course, but they do extremely well once they're acclimated.
In our country, being in eastern Oklahoma, we have no pastures where we can see all four corners. We're in the hills, the valleys, the glades. The bulls have worked extremely well for us. When they hit the ranch, they're in their work clothes. We get them acclimated in so much that we don't want them to head to Wyoming the first couple of 3 days, but we turn them out almost immediately. They stay with the cows. They're aggressive from the day we put them in to the day we pull them out. At the end of calving season, they've proven to be very sound, gain their condition back very well at the end of breeding season. They're a uniform set of calves. They've got good muscling, good structure, got good depth to them, and we always hit at the top end of the market.
Our breed back rate on all of our cows, it went up because those bulls travel. And yeah, we're in Kansas, but we still have rough country here. And the bulls just have to travel to get cows covered. And we've seen that with the Lucky 7 bulls. And secondly, our weaning weight on our steers went up 150 to 200 pounds across the board. And our heifers have went up 75 to 125 pounds.
One of the things that Lucky 7 stresses in their program is feed efficiency. And in the last few years, we have, while staying moderate on the EPDs that we look for, we have stressed a little more on the feed efficiency side. We recently added on to our ranch. We bought a few more acres right there close. We got with the local ag agencies, and they prepared us a grazing plan on what they thought would work. We went in, all Lucky 7 females with Lucky 7 bulls, and we ran almost twice as many cattle on the place as they had recommended, plus we cut the hay on it. So that has to go back to something, and it has to be the feed efficiency of Lucky 7 bulls.
This year and last year, we became into the worst drought I've ever seen. But it really, really has affected us. You know, back in June, I figured we were going to have to sell up to 40% of our cattle. Right now, it looks like maybe 5 to 10% sold. It's exciting to see how well our cattle have done compared to a lot of the other cattle in this situation. It's too late to get these type of cattle when you're in a drought. You know, so people that have grass right now, that's the time to do it. The time to do it is when they're economical to build these animals, because it's not about whether or not you will have a drought. It's all about how are you going to survive the next one.
After the break,
Jim's unique approach of focusing on strictly the efficiency side is going to pay dividends, and it's a much needed focus for the industry.
Lucky 7 Angus genetics don't just help in a drought, they help ranchers face increasing challenges from all sides. That story is next, here on The American Rancher. Welcome back to The American Rancher. Lucky 7 Angus develops feed-efficient cattle that produce environmentally friendly beef. Proven feed efficiency in real-world conditions help cattle producers across the country rise above the challenges to the beef industry and satisfy ever-increasing consumer demands.
We're old-time cattlemen. By no means are we the tree hugger type of people out there. But when we're trying to sell a product in a very competitive protein market, we have to find out what the customer wants. Right now, the customer's trying to talk about environmentally friendly, and that's the catchword. Whether you like it or not, the people that we're selling beef to, the millennials and some of these other people, that's a big issue to them. These millennials are a huge consumer group, and when we get to a point where there's enough cattlemen out there creating these animals that we can market it well, it's going to create a paradigm shift in the industry.
Lucky 7 Angus genetics absolutely get it done at the ranch. They absolutely get it done in the feed yard. They are second to none on the rail. And I think that the feed efficiency that comes forward and the ability to create more output with less input really opens the door to some claims that maybe no one else can make in the seed stock industry or the beef industry for that matter. I think we can start talking about low carbon beef. I think we can start talking about environmentally friendly beef. I think anytime you can produce more output with less input, I think it opens a lot of doors.
Well, I think in agriculture in general, the general trend is we're being asked to do more with less every single year, and that's going to continue to bleed over into the cattle side in an even greater way. Getting your cost per gain down as much as you can. And, we've done that in large part over the last 20 years in increasing the growth potential of our cattle and breeding decisions based off of weaning weights and yearling weights and things like that have driven it more from that side. But I think that Jim's unique approach of focusing on strictly the efficiency side is going to pay dividends, and it's a much needed focus for the industry.
We won't buy another bull unless it comes from Lucky 7. And Jim has done a tremendous job to work with myself to get them to me, and they are exactly as advertised, every one of them. The bulls have great dispositions. You can handle them horseback. You can handle them afoot. It's a tremendous, tremendous investment on our part as a rancher.
I was a healthy skeptic to the feed efficiency claims of Lucky 7 when I first met Jim and Jamie. Through the years of buying and using their bulls, I can tell you that the integrity, honesty, the data, the science, the goals that Jim and Jamie chase are for real. These genetics seem to get it done at our house.
And he truly cares about the people that buy his bulls and making advances in the industry. Pap testing is a huge one. Where we are, we've got to have it. We're high country. Another thing that Jim does that nobody else does is that 4-year guarantee. That's huge.
And I've had people tell me that he can't stand behind a 4-year guarantee, and I said he does. And I've used it a couple times, and with the price of bulls and the price of calves, you want to be able to keep your money together on these bulls, and that helps.
When you offer a 4-year guarantee, you're going to have great feet and legs. And so we created maybe the most unique grow yard in the United States, where it's 40 to 60 acres of hills and rocks. These cattle have to walk and travel a lot each and every day just to eat and drink, which creates a lot stronger bone mass and greater feet, which is one of the reasons that people don't have to replace these bulls, and one of the reasons we can offer that 4-year guarantee.
Where we winter, it's not nice country. We're sitting about 7,200 feet. The wind blows 50 miles an hour or more all winter long. It's nasty, rough country. And our running age cows, they graze out on standing forage. And those girls, they do an amazing job. And the biggest part of that is the bull program that we use behind that.
We started in this industry because we just wanted to make our customers more money. We wanted to be the guy that kept the neighbor ranch in business, if they're struggling a little bit more, because they could use our bulls, and those bulls are just a little bit better. So when people say that their calves weigh 100 pounds more than they used to, we never expected to ever hear that. That wasn't a goal that we had. When people are starting to say that their cattle are killing it at 1,400 pounds at 13 months, the 100% choice and better, we never expected to do that. Yeah, we expected the feed efficiency, and yeah, we expected the performance. The customers started telling us they run 1,800 cows now, where they used to only run 1,200. When they start their tractor in March instead of December, we never expected to hear any of that. We just tried to make the toughest cow that would make our customers the most amount of money.
When you're doing out-of-the-box technologies that we do, you have to rely on your customers. Sometimes you wonder whether or not what you're doing is better for the industry. But these testimonials of our customers, it just keeps us going. It keeps us on track. It makes us believe what we're doing is right. And I believe most of the success we have is because of our customers.
These cattle are truly environmentally friendly. We have created some of the most feed-efficient animals that have ever been raised, and i.e. these cattle are going to create less greenhouse emissions. They're going to put less carbon footprint out there in the environment. These cattle are going to produce more pounds of beef per less pounds of grass or nutrition. These cattle are raised in a way that makes them tougher so they're going to have less health and sickness issues. I invite anybody to come out to our ranch anytime you want and look at the animals. They'll be available. Our sales the first Saturday in March at the Riverton Livestock Auction, Riverton, Wyoming. You can come down there. If nothing else, just drink a cup of coffee. We'd love to visit with you. But just come see what these cattle look like and what they can do.
Lucky 7 Angus is an industry leader in developing highly efficient, environmentally friendly beef. And these cattle are now proven to work across the country, not just in high elevations. The Lucky 7 Angus Bull Sale is on the first Saturday of March in Riverton, Wyoming, and it's on Superior. To find out more, log on to lucky7angus.com. That's all the time we have today. To find out more about us, visit our website, theamericanrancher.com, or connect with us on Facebook. I'm Pam Minnick. For our entire American Rancher team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.